Hi, this is Kathy Weymouth from Tune the Temple, and today I want to encourage you in setting healthy boundaries for one specific reason. And that reason is that the way that you live your life is really a role model to other people. And sometimes we find that setting boundaries can be just so challenging, especially if we weren't raised that way. But if you learn to set boundaries for yourself, then others that are watching your life or in your life can actually glean so much from your example, especially when you're doing this in a healthy, respectful way. You can be teaching others just through your example of living. Now, I was watching a Facebook reel, and I think the title was 4 Ways You Know That You Were Raised by a Narcissistic Parent. And the thing that caught my eye was one of the ways you know is if you have difficulty with boundaries or you don't have boundaries. You have a hard time saying no. You get confused between yes and no and all of these things that we've talked about on other videos. So it made me think about the fact that, okay, a lot of us were not raised to set boundaries. Whether our parent was narcissistic and highly selfish or not, we just were not raised to say no. And we were raised, at least in my generation, to be respectful of elders and to always so speak only when you're spoken to, that kind of thing. Well, that was maybe not taken to that extreme, but still, we were not taught, and a lot of the people I work with have not been taught, either by example or by actually parental teaching, how to set boundaries. So I want to encourage you to be one that does set boundaries so that you can encourage other people, because it is so important. When you're lacking boundaries, your life can tend to be chaotic. When you start to add boundaries, you can start to invite some order and some peace into your life. Now, when you're first setting boundaries, it's challenging because you're not used to it, but it does get a little bit more comfortable with time. And it's just so important to bring peace into your own life, but to role model to others a way for them to invite peace. Like, I've been reflecting lately, I think peace is what we need the most in this life, because it seems like everyone's so scattered, they're so busy, so overwhelmed. How can we invite more peace? Well, learn to set boundaries in a healthy way. Recognize your limits. Like, know that you are able to do some things, but then there's a line at which you cross, at which now you're uncomfortable. Know where that line is, and then communicate, figure out, what your boundary is, and then communicate it to those that you need to, but communicating it gracefully. I say the same thing over and over. Setting boundaries can be challenging, but if you can do it in a kind and graceful way, then it can actually help your life, but it can also help you to be a fantastic role model. So maybe this will help encourage you to actually step out, and even if you have to do it afraid, step out and actually set a boundary so that you can be teaching others by your example. Okay, I hope this really helps and motivate you to set boundaries. Have a great day. It's Kathy from tunethetemple.com.